guys, Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
UFC Vegas 86 live from the Apex. Yes, they're back at the Apex. Hermanson versus Pfeiffer main event, along with a fairly weak card, guys. It's not going to be a great card this week. We're just over a week away, though, from UFC 298. And I haven't been more excited for a main event in a while, and just a card in general. It's a very stacked card. Can't wait for a lot of fights. There's obviously Volk versus Topuria. Can't wait for that fight. Can't wait to see how that fight goes. Right now, current line on that's minus 110. Pick up some bucks. So excited for that one. Card stacked, though, right? Whitaker versus Costa, Comain. Ian Gary versus Jeff Neal. Very excited to see how Ian Gary comes back after all this backlash he's been getting. Merab versus Cejudo. Very excited to see how that goes. I have that as a close fight as well. And then Hernandez versus Kopylov, a banger opening fight. We'll talk about that next week. Let's get into this card, though. I'll be breaking down the main card like usual, providing free picks, leans, price talk, and what to avoid. Systemsportscapping.com or link.me/systemcapping for client opportunities, resume, client comments, records, and more. Start learning how to beat the sports books long term. Like the video, guys. It helps me out a ton if you're watching on YouTube and now on Rumble. Also, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please take the 30 seconds or so that it does to rate, review. A lot more listeners over in the audio platform as of late, so much appreciated to you guys. Let's do a quick UFC Vegas 85 recap, and it was a nice week for myself and clients and for free play video viewers as well. You know, we cashed on our 2-fight parlay with Randy Brown and Garimbo. Both guys found first round finishes, one of my easier 2-fight parlays that I cashed. Easy winner there. You know, Randy Brown's reach and speed was just the big factor, right? It was too much. Too much for the Russian, which I did expect. And Garimbo did it for The Rock. Did it for the UFC in Africa. You all know the story about him and The Rock taking care of him, getting him to train, getting him a house. He just continues to improve and uses his resources to his advantage. You know, he's always saying he's going to get a title shot in 2024. Slow your horse. It's a little quick there, sir. But I love the confidence. And, you know, I think this guy could be a ranked guy very soon. He is well-rounded, it seems. Very good grappler, which we didn't get to see due to the first-round knockout, but excited to see what he has in the future. And the Morikano, right, I was all over him. Laid a little juice on the money line with him, but I did like him. I thought he would get a submission as well. I did have a small unit plan, the plus 160 by submission. He had him down for like 10, 11 minutes of that fight, guys. Right, so the path was there. He just never got really to a submission. He had some attempts, but Dober did fairly well on the ground. Good defense. He probably was training that for the whole training camp, right? Because he knows how good Makano can be on the ground. I think Makano should get a top 10 guy next. Looking forward to that. Some current runs, top runs currently in all sports. We ended the NFL on a 12-5 run, so happy about that. A 5-0 divisional round. That was my highlight as of late in the NFL. Currently sitting with the plus 1,000 on the 49ers. If you haven't watched the Super Bowl video, go check it out. NHL, a 65% run currently. Low volume. Only bet a few NHL games per week. Sometimes none, sometimes 3 or 4, depending, right? Games have to fit the system for me to pull the trigger. And in the PGA, guys, listen to this. 24-7 free plays, 77% short videos. I post them on TikTok, Instagram, post the link also on Twitter, so look out for that. Not every week. I'll put out two a month, maybe 2 or 3 a month, so watch out for that. It's over a year now. It's a year and 2 months, this record. It's all documented too, so you can head over to, it's saved on TikTok, Instagram as well. I save it to the stories there, so check it out for some reason if you don't believe me or something. Market update. Live Golf has been added to the arsenal officially. So some breaking news here. I did post it on my Instagram the other day. It's going to be officially for clients. It was a great start with an outright winner on Neiman, plus 1,400. First Live Golf outright winner already. 2 tournaments a month from Live Golf makes it very easy to handicap. Right? I like to do a lot of research. This doesn't really interfere in my other sports that I handicap, especially with the NFL gone. The NFL is gone. Right? So I have another sport that I can add here. Obviously, PGA is my main focus, but Live Golf also will be added. I do think there's a lot of money to be made in the Live Golf. The markets could be a little low. And it's very top heavy, right? The leaderboards at times. So we're going to see how it goes. It's going to be the trial run here this year. Let's get right into the card, guys. Shop around for best prices, like I always say. Have access to multiple books. Get the best price in the market. Main event. Pfeiffer minus 250 versus Hermansson plus 200. Not many guys move up the rankings this quickly, guys. Right? Pfeiffer is doing that. And it's been impressive. Right? This will be his 4th fight in the UFC. He already has a main event spot against a tough ranked guy. Pfeiffer may have the best nickname, guys, in the UFC. Ready for this? Some of you probably know, some of you don't. Body bags. And that's what he's been doing. He's been putting guys in body bags so far to start his UFC career, right? 5 finishes in a row. 3 of them in the UFC. One's a submission. He has a submission win in his last fight against Ali Hassan, a dangerous striker. That was his first big test, in my opinion. And this is a huge step up, though, in opponent, guys. Right? Hermansson, very well-rounded. Not really great anywhere, but he's good everywhere. He can fight anywhere the fight goes. Doesn't have the power to finish guys. When he does, it's usually by submission. His last finish was in 2018, guys, right, by TKO KO. So I don't think Pfeiffer is going to really be worried about any power, which is going to allow Pfeiffer to come forward, in my opinion. Right? This is some of these guys that Jack has fought, though, right? The resume difference is just huge. Cannonier, Gastelum, got the win on Gastelum, Vittori, Strickland, Dolitz, just very top-level guys in this division, right? So he's been there, done that. Now, when he steps up in competition, usually he loses, right? That's the thing. Like, his wins are lower-level guys in this division, right? Chris Curtis, Shabazian. Not bad wins, of course. Good wins, but it's just not top-level guys, right? He has, obviously, the win over Gastelum as well. Gastelum kind of has to take a step back in his career. He's 2-3 in his last 5 fights, guys. Pfeiffer has been fighting low-level guys, like I mentioned, right? And just running through them. So he already could beat who's in front of him, right? UFC's high on him. Dana White's high on him. A lot of the market's high on him. I'm high on him as well. But it is a test here. This is a test for him, and it's a big step up from competition. From Ali Hassan to Hermansson is just a huge step up, just because Hermansson's good everywhere. Cardio, very good. He's been in 5-round fights before. Pfeiffer hasn't, at least in the UFC. So you got to factor all that in when you're looking at a minus 250 price tag. I don't agree with the price tag, and it is difficult to bet, even though I do think Pfeiffer finds a way to win this fight. Pfeiffer's also very well-rounded. Good everywhere. Great grappling. Can wrestle. Lots of power on the feet. How will the cardio look if this fight gets deep, though? Right? This fight gets into 3rd, 4th, 5th round, and Hermansson able to survive that early round flurry from Pfeiffer. How will he look? Big question there. It is a big question, right? And there is some concern betting Pfeiffer at this big price. You know, he would be, if I were to bet it, it would be in a 2-fight parlay. Obviously, wouldn't bet minus 250 straight up. It would be a piece of the parlay for me. And if you want to do improve the price, I did look around, and it's only about minus 150 to finish the fight, right? By any means, submission, TKO, KO. It's tough. It's tough to get to that price, even though I do think Pfeiffer wins by finish if he wins this fight. Hard to see Pfeiffer really go 5 rounds. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't know if he has good cardio or not. We haven't seen him go deep in the fight, so we don't really know. I do think he's going to be prepared for a 5-round fight here, but we're going to give Hermansson the cardio advantage just because we've seen it, right? So the later this fight goes, advantage Hermansson. There's no secret about that, right? So it's going to be interesting. Can Pfeiffer finish Hermansson early? Hermansson has been finished before. not the best chin around. So keep that in mind. Piper's going to have, I don't know if he really has the striking advantage. He doesn't even has the power advantage. Hermansson has some good boxing. So it's very interesting here. Big step up earlier in his career for Piper. Is it too soon? I think he's the real deal. We're going to find out. We're going to find out here shortly. The play for a video person is going to be Piper. If it does make my client card, I have to fit into a 2-fight parlay. I'm going to see weigh-ins, of course. Client card does come out on Friday if you're interested in purchasing that. But Piper is going to be the play here with a little concern and don't love the price, as mentioned. One little stat here, what's going to be a fun battle if it gets there. Might be on the feet for a lot of it, but if Piper decides to wrestle, he's averaging just under 3 takedowns per 15. Now, I don't think he's fought as good of a wrestler yet as Hermansson, but Jack does have some fairly good takedown defense at 75%. So if Piper does look to get the fight down, that's going to be interesting to watch. How does that play out? I'm looking forward to that. Coleman could be a fun one. Ige, minus 170 versus Feely, plus 140. I'm surprised these two haven't fought as of yet, right? Both these guys have been around the block, haven't fought each other. So here we are. I had to look back to see if they actually did fight, and they didn't. I do think the right guy's favored here. I do believe it could be a close fight, though. Ige does have the power to KO guys, right? He does have the power to KO Feely. Feely has been rocked multiple times in fights. Right, Brito knocked him out not too long ago. Both guys have fairly low volume at both under 4. Right, their wrestling cancels each other out. I don't think, I would lean Feely in the wrestling department just because Ige's takedown defense is bad. Right? But it's funny, ways to beat both these guys is take these guys down, right? Both of them have pretty solid boxing. Feely's more of a volume guy. He's not going to really knock you out. But Ige does have that 50K, hence his nickname, right? But his issue always is takedown defense, 58%. 58% takedown defense in his career, guys. Right? We saw Mitchell just ragdoll him pretty much on the ground, which we expected. Mitchell's high-level wrestler. Can't put Feely in that category, of course. But Feely does have some sneaky wrestling. So Feely's success here would have to come in wrestling. Right? He would have to be able to mix it up. Standing and banging with Ige, not a great idea in my eyes. Right? Ige, when he steps up in competition, he loses. When he fights guys at this level, he usually finds ways to win. Same with Feely. Right? They're kind of in the same boat there. Right? Feely steps in competition, he loses, right? Let's look at some of Ige's wins here as of late. Landwehr, Damian Jackson, Tucker. I have him in that same category as Feely. Right, so give me Ige here. The price isn't terrible. Maybe find some minus 150s out there. Shop around. I have it around minus 150, minus 140 for Ige. But if Ige keeps his fight on the feet, I do expect him to rock Feely at some point. And Ige can wrestle. Don't get me wrong. He could get this fight down to the ground. Feely doesn't have great takedown defense either. So it'll be interesting to see how this fight goes. Probably not a client bet for me. But video purpose, I'm going to lean Ige. If you want to improve it, try to improve it with a finish on Ige and get some good plus money out there. Brzezek minus 175 versus Petore plus 150. Little battle of the Europeans here. And it's a new European prospect. Polish fighter. Making his debut, guys. And he's the favorite right away, minus 175. Petore has lost 2 in a row. Alberg finished him. Bellato finished him. The looks seemed to be chinny, even though Petore had shine and moments in that fight. I did watch some fights with the Polish guy. Very hard to find. It looks like he has some finishing power, but he's just fighting low-level guys. So it's hard to translate the guys that he's fighting and then moving to the UFC, right? He's fighting in some low-level promotion that's called Octagon MMA. I had no idea what it was. I had to look back. Obviously, it's a European promotion. Just low-level guys that he's beating up. So how does that translate into, yes, a lower-level guy in the UFC, but he's already been in there and done that. Right? So I haven't seen enough to bet this Polish fighter at minus 175. There's not a lot of talk about the guy being, the next big guy from Poland or the next big guy from Europe. And Pretorius, his UFC career could be on the line here. You lose 3 in a row as a new fighter. I don't think you're going to hang around for too much longer. Give me the plus 150 here. There is value here. Obviously, you're going to be... it's not a guy you want to bet often, but there's value, like I mentioned here. The guy making his US debut as well, going to Vegas. Pretorius been there already. So give me the plus money here at plus 150. Boris, I may just come out and knock him out in the first round. I don't know, right? It's possible. But if I were to bet this fight, I would have to take the value at plus 150. Tavares, plus 200 versus Rodriguez, minus 250. This is an interesting fight. This could be a banger of a fight. The win, fight of the night type of category if it stays on the feet. Tavares is coming off a nice win over Weidman. Banged up the Weidman, right? I don't know why he's still fighting. He was a legend. Now he's kind of ruining his status. I don't love it. I do think he should retire. But hey, I get the spirit that he has inside of him. Rodriguez has won 3 of his last 4. Lower level guys like Marquez, Chidi, Tulane, the Swedish fighter, is I would say a step up for Rodriguez here. He does have losses to questionable losses, like Petrosian beat him, Bruno Ferreira as of late. So Tavares is live at plus 200. I just don't know where Tavares is better than him. I don't see he's better than him anywhere. Excellent takedown defense, Tavares. He already was known for that. So I don't know if Rodriguez is going to be able to get the fight down to the ground, even though he's going to be the bigger guy in there, more stronger guy. Rodriguez could kind of lean on him to get the fight down to the ground. But Tavares has excellent takedown defense at 82%. And that's 82%, guys, over monsters he's fought. He's fought everybody. All right? A lot of the fights usually stay on the feet because he's great at striking. And Rodriguez is going to have the volume advantage here. Hate the price, $250. Can't bet Rodriguez at minus 250 here, guys. It's going to be a pass for me for client card. I'm going to lean Rodriguez, though. I've seen a little more. Obviously, the younger fighter has the more power on the feet. And I do think he has advantage in the grappling department if it gets there. Not sure if the fight will get down to the ground, though. I just don't see where Tavares is better. Right? He can hang in there. He's been there with the best guys. He usually puts up a fight. Just hard for me to get to Rodriguez at this price, even though I do think he should win it. Couple more here, guys. Michael Johnson, minus 140 versus Flowers, plus 120. Yes, Michael Johnson's still doing it, guys. You think he's older than he is, but he's 37. Obviously, 37 MMA, that's at the end of your career, but he's still doing it, right? 21-19 is his record. What a record, right? However, I always say he puts up fights. He's better than his record shows, in my opinion. And again, a lot of those losses are against very high-level guys. UFC did not give him any easy fights, it seems like. This guy has fought the best of the best and does have the shiny win over Dustin Poirier in 2016, though. And after that, only 4 wins, guys, against lower level guys, right? Feely, who we just talked about, decent fighter, right? But lower level, not really a higher ranked guy. Lobov, Alan Patrick, and Mark Diakese. 4 wins since that Dustin Poirier fight. And a lot of it, like I said, is due to the high-level guys that he's fighting. Right? He's been submitted 9 times, guys. And KO'd 3 others. A lot of that is just due to the competition, like I mentioned. Johnson always had questionable chin, especially at his age now, and coming off a KO loss to Diego Ferreira. You don't see Diego Ferreira really knocking out a lot of guys. So concerns there. Flowers, though, right? We're not going to be worried that he's going to submit him. He used to be a boxer, very bad boxing record. He's lost his first UFC fight to Jake Matthews. Not an easy fight for your first fight. I'm just not high on Flowers. 12-6 MMA career. Johnson could easily win this fight. Now, what Flowers does have is power. So he could catch Johnson. And that's why I'm going, video purposes, plays Johnson. Not going to make my client card due to Flowers being live catching Johnson. I do think Johnson has the experience advantage here, and that could play out here. Maybe if Johnson decides to get the fight down to the ground. Maybe try to submit him. Flowers does seem raw there. So Flowers could catch Johnson, sure. It's a fight. Minus 140 is not terrible. So I would lean Johnson here. Don't think this will make my client card due to the possibility of, Johnson older now, his chin gone. Diego Ferreira just knocked him out. He's coming off a KO. And Flowers does have some KO ability. So I'll stay away from that due to that. But if I were to bet this fight, it would be Michael Johnson. First fight to open up the card. It should be a decent one. Could be boring if Ferreira just decides to try to chain wrestle and get this fight down to the ground, which probably will be his path to win the fight. And you're getting him at minus 125 versus Petrosian plus 100. If I had to bet this fight, it would have to be the value at plus money, right? Classic grappler versus striker. This fight was supposed to happen a while ago. Petrosian got sick, had to pull out due to doctors advising it. Ready for this takedown defense? This is what concerns me, and it is why I would have a difficulty to put at least a higher unit amount on Petrosian. 36% takedown defense for Petrosian. The path is always to take him down. But when you look at Ferreira, his takedowns accuracy is 26%. So do the math there. Petrosian has a huge striking advantage in this fight. Ferreira, terrible striking. Very low volume. Petrosian, excellent Muay Thai and kickboxer. Uses kicks well, great boxing. So if he can keep the fight standing, he pieces him up and probably finishes him, to be honest. He's on a nice 2-fight win streak, Petrosian. I have this more as a 50-50 fight, so I think there's value for Petrosian. You're just banking on Petrosian keeping the fight on the feet. Can he do that? Right? And like I mentioned, Ferreira, not a wrestler. He's a grappler. If he gets you on the ground, you're in trouble. But can he get the fight there? And when you see 36% takedown view for Petrosian, you think maybe he could, right? So that's what's keeping me off from betting it personally. But for video purposes, I usually give out a pick. Sometimes I say pass. This wouldn't be a bad pass. But I'm going to say take the plus money with Petrosian if you keep the fight standing. I think that's all he's been training for the past 3-4 months, keeping the fight on the feet. Doesn't need to train his striking. It's so good and much better than Ferreira's. That will do it, guys. That will do it. If you haven't checked out the NFL video Super Bowls around the corner, it's a stacked weekend. Right? We got the Waste Management in Phoenix. Live Vegas in Vegas. We got this UFC card. Not great, I understand. But at least there's a fight. Obviously, NBA, NHL is going on. And then the Super Bowl. What a weekend. Waste Management's one of the best. Actually, if you guys don't watch a lot of golf, check the Waste Management out. It's like a party over there. I suggest to check it out. I have a client card pending already on that. You would have missed it if you haven't gone on. For you guys to get on board, thanks for that. And like I always say, bet smart and no limits. Enjoy Super Bowl weekend.